You need a new voice.
Okay, since it's 6:30, I'd like to call the select board meeting in the town of Belgrade to order. And we will start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so, we have, 3 board members, which establishes a quorum. So we will go ahead and get started. I believe the other 2 are on their way, and we'll just have them join us as we go. When we open the meeting, there's Melanie. We start the meeting with a time for public comment. So if there's anything that you would like to have brought to the attention of the board, that is not on the agenda, this is the time that you can bring it before the board. We do not act on it tonight, but if it's something that we need to act on, we will go ahead and schedule it and put it on the agenda for the future. Bruce?
Bruce Coolidge. So, one of the questions I got, being on the budget committee, so on and so forth, is I see we've got another dumpster in North Belgrade. And I don't understand why we're getting dumpsters. We have a full facility staff, we have 3 facility trucks. We have facility people going to these facilities on at least a minimum weekly basis for cleaning. There is no reason for us to be paying for an outside company to haul our refuge away when we have our own facility to take our refuge. Plus, the recycling would get done. Instead, it's just the recycling.
I'm sorry, you said with the recycling?
No, we just had dumpster put in at North Belgrade Community Center
Okay,
by an out-of-town company, for one. And there's no reason for it. We have 3 full-time facility people. We have 1 permanent part-time facility person. We have 3 part-time facility people right now. Plus, we have 3 facility trucks. There's no reason for us to have any dumpsters in this town. We should be picking, that's why we have a facility maintenance crew. We should not be picking it up. If we're gonna be picking it up, it should be offered to in-town companies first. And then ask for outside companies.
okay, all right. We will take that under consideration and obviously bring back at probably our next meeting, but thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I appreciate you on the next agenda, please.
I'm sorry?
I said I'd appreciate it to be on the next agenda, please.
Okay. Anyone else have anything under public comment? Okay. Next item is to review and approve the minutes from May 21st, May 22nd, and June 4th.
Do we have the minutes from May 29th?
I don't know.
They weren't in here.
I don't have that. May 29.
That was the special
No, that was the executive.
executive session. I thought I sent those in. If we don't, then we will get them. I thought those had been forwarded, but if not, we will have to get them. So looking at the minutes from May 21st, are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
There are a couple changes in the executive session.
Okay,
Motion to exit regular session was at 8:03. Seconded by Melanie Jewell. Motion.
What page
Oh, so page 3.
page 3.
Oh, 807, 803.
8:03, motion to exit regular session 8:03. By Carol, seconded by Melanie Jewell. Motion to enter executive session. It doesn't have a time, but that was 8:04. And seconded by Melanie. And on page 4, the motion to approve evaluation, oh, that's fine. Okay, and then the rest has the times are correct.
So these times are right
Yes,
from your note, okay?
And this is 5:21, Barbara,
5:21, it's at the end of the minutes from the regular meeting.
because I've got motion to exit regular session at 8:57.
Right, and
That-
yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm correcting them.
Okay, it should be 8:03.
Eight
Should be
oh three.
8:03.
Which one, once she said that, they made sense because we didn't.
We exited at
Actually,
8:15.
So unless we did time travel,
Right,
I
right.
don't remember doing.
Right, so we exited the regular session at 8:03, seconded by Melanie. Entered the executive session at 8:04, seconded by Melanie. And
Good,
that was,
good find.
everything else was fine,
Okay,
but yeah, we adjourned at
any other
8:18.
questions? Okay, I move we approve the minutes for May 21st as corrected.
Second,
All in favor? Barbara,
Yes,
Peter,
yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so that's 4 yes, 1 absent. And then the next one is for the special meeting and executive session for May 22nd. This is the meeting that was immediately following the special town meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to this one?
I had none.
Here, okay, hearing none, I move we approve the minutes for May 22nd.
second,
All in favor, Barbara,
yes,
Peter,
Yes,
Melanie,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so it's 4 yes and 1 absent.
Who seconded that?
Barbara.
Barbara did.
And then the next one is the meeting minutes for June 4th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If there are none, okay,
I did have a streetlight request. I think one of the other questions were whether you want citizen pays if they've done the request. We had the discussion on the request to install the streetlight. The bushes need to be trimmed. Our neighbors okay? How many lights do we already have on intersections? Check me on DOT for crash data, and the other thing is if the citizen requests a street light. Do they pay for the street light, or is that on the town? So that's another question that needs to be answered in there before we make a decision on that.
we brought that up at the meeting.
I believe it was either Bruce or Dan who asked about whether or not citizens pay. And under the Civic Plus website discussion, the board requested the town manager board a copy of the signed contract. Do we have a signed contract yet with Civic Plus?
We do not.
We do not. Have they sent us a new one?
They have not.
Right.
That's all I have on that.
okay. Are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I move we approve the minutes of June 4th as corrected. All in favor, I need a second. Second by Melanie, all in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes.
I'll vote yes. So that's 4 yeses and 1 absent. Okay, and we will get the minutes for the other executive session for the next meeting. I move we open unfinished business.
Second,
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we table that since we've had no response from CMP. And then I have a question we still need to have answered on the streetlight thing.
we did get something from CMP.
No,
No, sorry.
I have a list of the locations of the streetlights. That's what I sent out to you all.
Right,
But CMP has not responded on where those are. I mean,
Right, and I've been, as I've been driving around, I've been sort of looking to see where streetlights are. And as I was coming down Route 8 this evening, I noticed that there was one at a private road right by just north of the dam. First camp, maybe. It's the road that goes down to Great Pond, where there are a lot of camps with the big lawn, do you know the name of that?
Is it Snow?
What?
Snug Harbor.
Snug Harbor? maybe?
Yeah, Snug Harbor Road.
Oh, Snug
Maybe it's
Harbor
Snug
Road,
Harbor.
yeah.
Big lawn.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a private road, and there is a street right there.
You
That-
pay
that's-
for to do that.
That street, I believe, is for the dry hydrant for the dam. There's a dry hydrant on the dam, and I believe that's what that street lights for.
Okay, but it's
Don't
not right,
quote me on it.
it's not right at the dam.
No, that's a bad corner right
I know
there.
it's a bad corner. I
Yeah.
thought that's maybe why it was there,
Yeah.
because it's sort of a blind corner.
Yeah.
Okay, but I've been trying, but without knowing where these are, it's a little hard to tell what's a private road and what's a public
What's a
road.
private, a public
Yeah.
road, yeah.
Because we do have somewhere in the town office, because when we did the switch over to the LED lights, we had to have documentation of where every single street light was in Belgrade, because we were switching all of them over to LED.
Right,
So in the town office, we have that information without requesting it from CMP. So perhaps if we ask the town clerk or someone,
This is what Mary provided to me. This list that I gave you.
okay, so if we're still looking to see if any of those are public or private, we need to discern how to know where those are, whether it's from CMP or having someone go out and physically look them. What is, Peter?
I have a question, if it's okay.
Yeah.
In the streetlight policy under application process, B, paragraph B, it says that the town manager shall refer the request to the road commissioner and the sheriff's department for their comments. And I know we've heard back from the sheriff's department.
Yes, I haven't
Miss
heard
Jason.
anything from Jason
Okay,
on anything.
So I'm
I
just-
think he's just out straight.
I'm sure he is. I just wanted to make sure that
Right.
we have both comments, so when we take it up, we are comprehensive in nature.
Right. And concerning who pays, the policy, right in the very beginning of the policy, it says. The purpose of the policy is to provide a guideline to determine under what condition a municipally funded streetlight should be installed or removed. So this would imply that if it comes to the town,
Mhm.
that it would be funded by the town, because then under C, it says the board of select persons shall then make a decision to install the
Right.
requested light if there is sufficient funding in the current budget.
Right,
So, and then it does talk about not intended in number one at the top. The policy is not intended to discourage any property owners or residents from renting a streetlight from a private company to be located on a public roadway.
right,
But this would, to me, this says that if it comes to us, that the town would be paying for it.
well, it says.
Well, there are two issues.
We
One
would
is
make
paying
a
for it.
determination whether or not we would pay for it.
Whether
So
we
just
would pay.
because it comes to us doesn't mean that then we have to then determine that we pay for it.
Right.
And when we looked at crash data, there was not a lot.
No,
Yeah. There are, I think there are two or three issues, and one of them is who's gonna pay for the light, and then the second one is the town would then be paying for the monthly cost of it, which is not significant, but it is a monthly cost. Which is-
But I think it is,
Wrong term.
yeah, but I think it is important that we know what other locations,
Right.
with private roads.
Yep.
Intersections with private roads, the town is funding so that we have a precedent, we know what the precedent is
Right,
Right,
right.
for
Absolutely.
this request and for going forward.
okay. So.
Sorry.
So, in my discussion,
Yeah,
but Melanie had a motion, if I'm not mistaken, to table.
right,
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
okay.
We've had discussion. so we probably-
We've had discussion, okay, but just so we're clear, we're looking to know where each of these lamp posts are located, whether they're on private road or not. We're also looking to see, we need a response from Jason. Is there anything else that we need?
Is there any history in the town of Belgrade with a street light being installed on a private road or at the request of a citizen, and they pay for it or the town pays for it?
Right, I don't know what we have for data on that when you, but. That would be another one to see if there were any. Are you familiar in the past, Melanie, where any were paid for by private folks?
No, I believe the Hewlin Road at one point had one that the Hewlin Road streetlight was paid for by the citizens for probably 30 or 40 years. And
Okay.
it wasn't until we did the LED switch over that the town agreed to pay for that street.
Paid for the switchover?
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
But it's no different than a private road going in and then now they build the road up, the town specs, and then they request that we take the road over so we can then pay for it for all eternity.
Mhm.
So this isn't any different. It's a similar request. They're requesting something that's
Right.
there now and they're requesting that we pay for it. Versus the handful of folks who live on that road pay for it.
right,
So the determination needs to be made if it's
right,
if
and,
it's a public safety issue or if it's a private road safety issue, and if so, then their association could install a streetlight themselves.
right,
So that's what we need to figure out.
okay. So there's a motion to table this until we get the remaining information and schedule it for July 2nd. Any further discussion? All in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, Barbara?
Yes.
So there are 4 yeses, one absent. Sorry, John. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Just a comment, this light would not be on private road. It's on the state highway.
It's on the state highway.
So it's is it the pole that's across from the street?
No, it's just up Route 11, 25 feet.
Okay.
Okay,
But
I took a ride out trying to figure out where it was going to be, so I was thinking it was if you're sitting waiting to pull onto the main road, there's like a pole like right there. That's where I thought you were thinking.
If you're coming out, the Cathedral Pine pole is on your right, as
Okay.
I say, about 20 feet.
Okay.
okay.
But I think on the list of all the, do you have did you get the packet with the list that has the
polls,
all the polls? It's online in the packet. We can get your copy of it.
You
Um,
can have mine if you like, Dawn.
I'll get it from you.
but I think most of these roads are public. They're on public roads. It's just a question of what the intersecting road is.
Okay, so, Laura, will you check with Jason or facilities or whatever, so that we can figure out where these are all located? And then we should make sure we have it somewhere that we keep in easy access.
If it's a state road, does the state pay for the streetlight?
The state would have paid for the streetlight. On
Right,
a
so
state
if
road.
it's a state road that we're considering, because we're talking the intersection of a private road and a state road. So we're either going to assume responsibility for a streetlight that we install on a private road that intersects a state road.
Right,
Or if it's determined that it's necessary, does the state pick up the cost and then they pay for the street
right.
installation and ongoing maintenance?
I don't think so, because on this list, Smithfield Road is Route 8, Oakland Road is Route 11. Farmington Road is 27.
Right,
So Main Street is 27. So, all of these are on public roads that we're paying for.
Just one question, does DOT have to approve that, or that's it's not like a secondary road, like Manchester Road, that's I don't know if that has to have approved, I know Route 20, any lights on Route 27 has to be approved by DOT in the past, I don't know if it still is. I know in the past.
That's another question for the list.
right.
Let's put that on the list.
Might be for
DOT approval. Call Dave Allen, our favorite friend.
Check with
He
Laura.
probably has an answer. Okay. All right. So that takes us down to new business. I will reopen new business.
Second.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Stay cool.
You're right.
Okay, so under new business, the first thing is appointments. And we have the first is the appointment of Laura Richter to the Ad Hoc Short-Term Rental Committee. And Laura's here.
Thank goodness for the phone call from Barbara. I'm just getting out of the shower, of course I'll be there.
Laura, anything you want to share with why you're wanting to be on this committee or willing to work on this committee?
Well, I just figured I could have some knowledge because of my past owning of camps, and my daughter owns an Airbnb. So, and being on the tourism council at, Valley Tourism Council before,
Mhm.
so maybe there'll be something I can share.
I'm sure your experience in rentals will be very helpful as we look through it.
Maybe help me do something.
So I move we approve Laura Richter for the short-term rental ad hoc committee. Any more comments? Anyone have any questions for Laura?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome. I'll go do some homework, pull up some old stuff.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so that's 4 yeses and 1 absent, and we really appreciate that.
Carol, can we pause for
Pause
just a
for a
minute so
second.
we can put the second?
So that monitor is not on behind you? Yeah.
Good point. I thought there was something wrong with this. I'm like,
No.
everything was good.
Which is great.
I hit the button. Why did it something? No,
Okay,
on.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Laura. Zoom.
No,
they turn them both off. Yeah, I'm all done. I want.
Okay, there's that one. Let's see if we can do this one. Don't know what it's doing.
Uh-oh. Who asked that question?
That was me. We're on. Good, thank you.
Good.
Okay, our next one is for Charlene. Is Charlene online?
None.
No, so, Mary and I were talking this afternoon and thought it might be a little too warm to have,
Oh, Charlene, come up.
yeah, so Charlene, Mayanne, and Richard are all coming for your July 2 meeting.
Oh,
instead.
okay.
So I make a motion with table Charlene Hill, Leanne Bush, and Richard Van Valentine. I always think I'm gonna mangle that name until the July 2nd meeting until they can be present.
Second.
Second by Peter.
Yeah.
All in favor, Barbara?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so that's 4 yeses, 1 absent. Okay. Moving right along. We come to, Ron DePussy. Ron must be online.
Is Rob up
He is,
there?
Rob.
Oh, it's Ron. Okay,
How are you all?
good. A little warm, but that's okay.
Yes, finally. We'll take it. So, we have put together some, mill rate options for this year's commitment. I believe you'll see that, there's 3 different options in front of you for, choosing mill rates. So a quick overview of, we, over last year's total taxable valuation, this year's increased by $5,275,000 of new value. That would be new construction, lot splits, things of that nature. So that's a fairly healthy year of growth. I was glad to see that. So it puts our total taxable value, valuation base at $1,073,000,000. You'll see that on line 6 on all of those. So now the other part of this would be we have our 3 budget items. We've got the county tax on line 7. We got the municipal appropriation on line 8. And then our local education appropriation on line 10. As I'm sure we all know, the county tax is up 29% over last year's tax. An unpleasant surprise. These are gross numbers. The municipal budget's up 13.5%. and the school budget's up 4.5%. So I think overall it's an increase of 9.75% over last year. That would be line 11. But to offset the municipal appropriations on line 8, we have the allowable deductions on line 12 and line 13. Revenue sharing on line 12 is 350,000, which we use the same number as we received last year. They really hasn't changed all that much. Unfortunately, it was the first time in years that we didn't see our revenue sharing increase, so we just kept it flat. And then line 13 is all other revenues. Excuse me. These are the revenues that was voted on at town meeting, taking excise tax, any other undesignated funds. And those other revenues are an increase of $525,000. So those two line items come off of the municipal budget. So what we're really talking about on all of these sheets is line 15, the net to be raised by property tax, 10,151,853. And that is up 662,000 over last year. So it's a 6.9% increase. So at the end of the day, what we're asking the board to decide is which mill rate they want and corresponding overlay, but with the idea that our taxes will have an increase of about 6.5%, 6.9%, somewhere in there.
Okay. And you
So-
have 3 options here?
Yeah, so you'll see on those 3 sheets you have in front of you, everything is the same. Everything's the same until we get to line 19. This is an electronic version of the state's mill rate calculation sheet. It's been around forever. It's a lot of checks and balances because when we set our overlay can be up to 5% of our net to be raised, but not a penny more. So line 20, for example, if we went with a maximum mill rate, our overlay would be $507,000. Very, we certainly don't need anything close to that. So the ranges of mill rate with no overlay would be 9.46, which is on line 17, all the way up to 9.932 on line 18. So what I have chosen for you, and we can move these around if you have another idea, but these are kind of the 3 that we were thinking. Line 21, a mill rate of 9.6 would give you an overlay on line 23 of 150,000. My opinion is that is a little too much. The next one down the list is a mill rate of 9.55. And the corresponding overlay is 96,845. And then the third option would be the mill rate of 9.5 even, which gives you an overlay of 43,187. So my recommendation would be, I'm sorry.
So Rob, is that 9.5 even, or is that 9.46 is what I see on the?
Oh, no, it's 9.5 even. If you look on line 19.
It's the first of the 3 pages.
Okay. Sorry, I was going on. Okay.
Yeah, line 17 is a minimum and line 18 is the maximum. So as you know, I mean, it's common practice that any abatements that we have over the year come out of our overlay. And at the end of the budget year, whatever monies are left in overlay, it just rolls into undesignated to be used at a later date. Nothing can be spent out of that. We raise it, we have no authority to spend it, but we can just put it in undesignated funds for the board to decide if they want to use those funds to lower next year's tax commitment. But it's always good to have that cushion. And I think the overlay last year was right around that same amount. And I did pull all the abatements and supplementals that I did last year. And remember, that was the year of the factor. We factored all the values up to 100%, and we had a more significant increase in tax burden. So the good news is we had abatements that totaled $14,375 tax dollars. But in supplementals to offset that, some of them were money in, money out because we had wrong ownership and things like that we had to correct. But we did have a tree growth removal penalty that is something else for you guys to sign tonight. H.C. Haynes wanted to remove, I think, 3.7 acres from one of their lots to sell as a house lot. And because that lot is currently enrolled in the tree growth program, there's a recapture penalty that's paid, and that's $6,449 that goes to the town and stays with the town. So with that said, we actually, with those supplementals, we actually supplemented $17,900. So we increased the overlay by $3,500, and that's not normal. But even if, and that that abatement amount of 14,000 is high compared to most years because of the factoring and the amount of people that come in to see me, and it became more critical of their assessments. So I think the town is in good shape financially. So I don't really think we need anything more than 9.5, but certainly the ultimate decision is the board's.
So Rob, can I ask, the 9.5, that gives us an overlay of 43,187?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that gives you an overlay of 43,187.
So I make a motion that we adopt the mill rate of 9.5.
I'll second that.
Barbara will second it.
Yep.
Any discussion of that choice?
No, I found it very helpful to have the information. that
Yes, it
was
is.
supplied.
You
Thank you.
look at it and your eyes sort of twirl
Head
around.
laser.
Yeah, I understand it today. Don't give me a quiz on it in 3 weeks though.
But at first
Fair
glance, there's a
enough,
lot,
fair
a lot of
enough.
this.
Yeah,
To me, the hidden information is how close do we need to be in historical terms to whatever that overlay figure is. And by you describing some of those numbers that helped me land on the lower overlay.
Yeah.
So thanks.
okay. Any other
it becomes-
comments? Go ahead, Rob.
No, I just say it becomes, it's a year by year basis, with a 6% increase in the tax, everybody's tax, it's good practice to have a smaller overlay, even if it's smaller than normal. If we were sitting in a different circumstance and we could keep the mill rate the same from one year to the other, the overlay would lie where it lies, in my opinion. Again, overlay, you collect it, but you can't spend it, and you can use it at a later date to reduce taxes. From my experience, a taxpayer really does like a flat mill rate, a flat tax bill year after year. The other part of this we have to remember is that the stabilization program that was implemented last year for seniors, that is now gone. So people who had their taxes frozen, the 2022 tax was frozen for 2023. That means those people didn't see the 7.9% increase in tax last year. They're going to see the 7.9 plus the 6 this year. And there's nothing we can do about that. The state took that program away after 1 year, and now they're going to pay the same amount that we all do. So that's something that we have to be aware of.
Yeah, okay. If there are no other comments, all in favor, Melanie? Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses and 1 absent.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
And one, just to finish out that thought, I'm sorry. So because you guys picking the mill rate tonight, I have to get with Nick about, because ordinarily the interest on unpaid taxes is always set at 1% over your TAN rate. And when I was at the office earlier to prepare for the meeting, everybody had already left. I didn't have that interest rate. So tonight will be the commitment because of the vote you just made, but the papers will be there for your signature on the 2nd.
Okay,
Okay, you can start the process now, just a matter of, I have to get with Nick to make sure that we have the right interest rate in there. I've got the due dates and everything, so that's all I have for that.
All right, the next item is the supplementals and abatements.
But I can get you the interest rate if you want that, quickly, Rob.
Okay, yes,
I'll have to look for it,
okay.
but are you looking to Mel?
Yeah, it looks like shall bear interest at the rate of 5.51 per annum, so we would set the interest rate at 6.61, 6.51.
6.51, okay. The only thing we have to be careful of is I haven't seen the documents yet, but the state gives us a maximum interest rate for unpaid tax. And it hovers between, it bounces around from 4 to 8. If the maximum rate set at the state is 6, we have to use 6. So I'll find that out before we sign the papers. Because in years past, our interest rate's always been so low, we never really had to worry about it.
I think it's 8.
I think it was, and we usually err on the side of caution on the board. We could whack them, but we try not to. Somebody have comment or something up there?
Yes, there's a question here or.
Yeah, I know.
Why did our assessment increase last year, even though the mill rate was less, which caused us to pay the same tax amount instead of a lower amount? Is this new mill rate lower than last year? So the mill rate was less, but it was because, Rob, you did factoring to bring up our certified ratio to the state. So
That's
it
correct.
dropped the mill rate, but the tax amount increased because of values, right?
Right,
And the new mill rate that the board just set is a little higher than last year, Joan.
Okay. All right, Craig, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that, what was the mill rate last year?
8.95.
Right.
So 9.5 this year, it's 55 cents per thousand higher, or more, right, Rob?
correct.
Per, on valuation.
Okay, the next item is the tree growth. Abatement, removal,
Supplemental.
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 I guess I should read this into the record.
Yes.
Town of Belgrade, Robert Cliffy, CMA, Assessor's Agent, 990 Augusta Road, Belgrade, Maine. Regarding tree growth withdrawal, 3.7 acres. Dear Mr. Duplessis, on May 21st, 2024, you sent me a tree growth penalty calculation for property on the West Road in Belgrade, being part of map 8, lot 6. I have enclosed a copy of that calculation and a map showing the parcel's location. Would you please remove the 3.7 acres from tree growth? A supplemental tax bill for the tree growth penalty can be forwarded to us at the above address. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. Sincerely, Ginger Maxwell, treasurer of Herbert C. Haynes, Inc. of Wynn, Maine. And there's attached calculation that shows the penalty amount of $6,499.18.
440.
What?
440.
Oh, I thought 6,449.18.
So I make a motion that we approve the supplemental tax to H.C. Haynes Incorporated for map 8, lot 6. 1498 RE in the amount of $6,449.18 for tree growth removal penalty.
I'll
Is there a
second,
second?
I'll second that.
Barbara will second. Any further discussion? All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so that's 4 yeses and 1 absent. Okay.
The next one, Karen, you probably should abstain because you're part of the group.
I will abstain on this one. We do need to have a further discussion on that. And the next one is the Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village Valuation Adjustment Request. Want me to, I'll write the letter into the record?
Yeah, you can, or I can if you feel more comfortable. Rob, I know you met with, Kathy.
So this is a request from, Lorna, please provide to the select board for their upcoming meeting on June 18th, 2024. Thank you very much. Kathy Atkinson. This is to the Belgrade Board of Select Persons from Kathleen Atkinson, co-chair, Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village, dated June 12th, 2024. And it's a request concerning a real estate tax bill. On Monday, June 10th, 2024, I met with the town's assessor, Rob Duplessis, to request forgiveness of the tax that will be due on the property that the Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village owns in the village. Map 25, lot 006. We discussed the Friends' work to purchase the property, remove the storage units, convert the land into a parking lot contiguous with the village green, and upon voter acceptance, gift the parking lot to the town of Belgrade. Mr. Duplessis explained that since an April 1st deadline had passed, he was not able to consider the Friends' request. However, he explained that the select board, as the ultimate legislative body, had the authority to forgive the tax if it is in the best interest of the town. Mr. Duplessis added that he would speak in support of our request at the upcoming meeting. The Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village, a registered 501c3 nonprofit with a history of having provided significant infrastructure to the town, respectfully request that the Board of Select Persons authorize the forgiveness of our property tax as we work to raise the funds to complete the project that will provide much needed, safer on-street parking for the town. Thank you for your support of our project and consideration of this request, Kathleen Atkinson, and provides her phone number. Rob, do you have any comment that you needed to add or wanted to add?
I do. So that letter was spot on for the most part of our conversation. As your agent, my responsibility is to make you aware of state statute, and what you should or shouldn't do, or suggest what you should or shouldn't do to be in compliance with that. And it was all about the April 1st deadline. As you know the property they bought. The storage building was still existing as of April 1st. And which they are a 501c3 entity, they most likely would qualify for a tax exemption because of their statute, their standing as a nonprofit. They didn't get the application into me on time, so I couldn't, under the statute, grant them an exemption. And just trying to come up with solutions, and I just know that the way the state statute works is my job is to follow the statute. This board has the ultimate authority to decide to do exactly what she said, do what's best in the interest of the town. There's no recourse for this. There's nothing like that. I mean, the reason I suggested she speaks to you is because at the end of the day, when this project is complete, most likely the town's going to own the parking lot anyway. And timing was such, but I didn't have the authority to grant her the exemption. But the state, even though they have the statutes that we're obligated to follow, they have what's called home rule, where they know that this board is the best decision maker for the town, and the state has no authority to get in the way. But I say I'm in the middle. That's why I present to you what the statute says. I then present to you that she was coming to you to have you forgive. It's going to be the 2024. Its timing is such that if she had asked for this earlier, we could have worked on not assessing any tax this year at all. But with commitment that happened a few minutes ago, the tax will be committed. The board can decide to waive it.
And Lynn,
Rob, what is the amount of the tax?
It's 1,500-1,600, something like that.
I think the building portion, the 2023, I'm gonna say is around 1,358.
Yeah.
The land, I want to say the land added maybe 300 or 400 to that. Wasn't it around 1,800,
1795.
17?
Oh, 17, my mistake.
23.
Lynn,
Thank you. Kathy is out of town visiting
you
family,
need
so
to
I
identify yourself for
can
the
speak
record.
on her behalf. I'm Lynn Matson. I'm on the board of directors for the Friends of Belgrade Lakes. And thank you, Rob. I hope it's a good idea to be talking about a request for tax forgiveness right after you guys talk about a mill rate. We'll see, I guess. Before I make a comment, let me just give you a quick update on what's happened down there on that site. We put up a banner and a sign keeping people out of the parking lot area because there's some potential danger up there in that there's a cement pad that's got some bolts sticking up. We don't want people driving over it. And right now, there's no good, easy way to get from that upper level down to the village green. There will be when it's done, but right now there is. So for those reasons, we put up a banner and a sign that says keep out construction zone. Second thing, we've got a banner that's being made to announce that it will be a parking lot. It shows the picture you saw of the parking lot adjacent to the village green. It has our website on it or our email address so people can get more information or hopefully support us. And it's probably more of a billboard than maybe a banner. It's for about 8 feet, so it's gonna be very visible. But I thought it was a good idea. We thought it was a good idea to have an announcement so people know what's happening on that site. As far as the tax, we had hoped to have that building down, which is, you heard, the majority of the tax by April 1st, and the contractor was gonna do that, except we ran into the snow problem. As you remember, we got a couple of big snowstorms just at the end of March. And he could not take the building down when they had a snow load on the roof. So it came down shortly afterwards, but that's why we missed that deadline. Our big effort now is to raise money. We're waiting for news back from the foundation, whether we get a matching grant. As soon as we find that out, we'll go out with some additional mailings. But we're now, as I say, trying to raise money. So if we can save some money on taxes, that's really money earned or money in our budget to build this parking lot. So any questions that you might have?
I was gonna ask, when did it come down? You answered that.
I think a week or so after, I think first week of May, it came down. As soon as the snow was melting off the road.
They
Scott was
started
there.
in April, but it didn't get completed in April. Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, anyone wish to make a motion?
I move that we,
Well, we need the actual amount to get voted. You know, 1795, is it 1795?
It's 1794 and
that was 23.
yeah,
The amount
That's
that-
right. If I may, if the board wishes to forgive it, then the next meeting, you'll have the proper amount and you could sign it like any other abatement. So you won't, I don't think you need to make a motion of as to the amount. It's just the act of forgiving it and we can take care of it and you can sign it later, if that helps.
okay,
Okay, so I move that we forgive the tax amount that would be owed by the Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village on map 25 lot 6.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, or any more discussion? All in favor, Barbara?
Yes,
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. And I will abstain, and we have one person who's absent.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
thank you for all the work
Thank
on
you.
this.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Okay, our next item of business is salt bids.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Welcome to hang out.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Liz. Lorna, you want to take over the discussion on salt bids?
Yes, we were waiting on the state figure to come in. It finally did. So we did receive KV Cog first. That came in at 75.35 a ton. And that is through New England Salt. The state provided us with a winning bid on their end from Morton Salt at 76.60 a ton. So the recommendation would be, of course, to go with the lesser amount, which would be the KV Cog pricing.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Any motion?
I move that we accept the bid from Kennebec Valley Cog for the salt for 2024.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so that's 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay. Next is tree service bids. Lauren, would you take that?
So this went out, I think I provided you all a list. I believe there were 11 different businesses that did agree to get a copy of the RFP to submit something. We did receive one from All Seasons Tree Service here in Belgrade. You have a copy of that included in your packet along with a copy of the RFP and the old contract.
My memory is, are the rates the same as last time or did the rates go up?
I believe it's the same.
I didn't see it in mine, but I was thinking that it was.
I believe it was $100, yeah, $100,
200,
an hour. Yeah, and that's what we're paying right now
Okay.
per meeting.
So no change?
No.
Okay.
The only one, right?
The only one.
Yeah, what was it last year? Cause I thought we were at 150 on an emergency call last year.
Point contract, looks like 200. If I'm reading this correctly. The first 4 pages is from last year, correct? So page 2 says $200 for an emergency call.
So the first 4 pages are the proposal for this year, no?
Oh, that's this year.
24 to 25.
Sorry. So for last year, that
It doesn't say.
doesn't say.
I'd have to find the
That's-
original bid.
So I don't know.
Oh, it was 150.
Well, here, 23 to 24.
Okay,
Is Jason here?
He's not.
Did he know we were taking this up tonight?
I did not contact him. Do you want to wait
We all should.
to July 2?
Yeah, I just assume that if we have any questions, we can ask him, and if somebody's contract is up for
I mean, if we
conversation.
only have one in the RFP, we are,
We're not forced into anything, we have the right to refuse all bids.
well, that's true. Okay, so do we want to postpone this till July 2nd? Is that the?
Yeah, because if somebody's on the agenda, it's our obligation to tell them that we're going to have this conversation and invite them to participate.
So did you make a motion to
I
table?
make the motion to table this to July 2nd.
I will second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of tabling? Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yep.
Barbara?
Yes.
Carol votes yes. We'll have it come back for us on July 2nd. Okay, the next request is, the Salmon Lake Dam. Lorna, will you lead us through, or should I read this? I probably should read this into the record.
So, Resident Bruce Trumper has made a request of the board to ask the dams committee to maintain the water level of Salmon Lake at the low end of the permitted range rather than the highest level permitted in order to allow for more in-lake capacity to avoid downstream flooding and the risk of overtopping the dam. Included in your packet was the letter from Mr. Trumper, a photo that he provided, and also the public notice the dams committee put out earlier this year. And Craig is here, Mr. Trumper is here.
And also camera, and so the damn paper at San.
Okay, yep. So
So, is there Any discussion on?
Yeah, I think we're great. Are you gonna talk to the question?
Well, I thought Bruce was gonna talk first, but, again, I mean, weather goes from drought to rain to drought to rain, we all know that. If we keep Salmon Lake down to the lowest maximum, level, then, you know, it's gonna put everybody at risk of not being able to travel from McGraw Pond to Salmon Lake. And that's the biggest thing, and there's taxpayers in 2 towns around that lake paying for taxes on the lake, and the DEP is the ruling force on the lake levels, and we are just following the lake, what we are, the lake
Right.
levels. This town doesn't really have any authority on the state's lakes. So I'm not really sure why we're sitting here. Because there's an interlocal agreement through 7 towns. And Belgrade just can't say, you're gonna lower the lake. It's not feasible. The lake levels are set by the DEP. It's a state-owned lake. And we're following the levels.
Very good. I had a question for Mr. Trumper.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to talk to anybody at DEP about this request?
Not this time. I wonder if you're aware that about 8 years ago, I filed a formal complaint with DEP after speaking to Dennis Ketchum. And it went from there. I don't know. The end result was the town was fined $60,000. The fine was held in abeyance because that's the policy of the DEP. With the intent to levy the fine if the water levels were not followed again, if there was a breach of that agreement. This time I have not approached the DEP. I'd rather avoid that because last time it opened up a can of worms and caused unforeseen trouble, which I would like to avoid this time. If I may, I'd like to address the two issues brought up. Troubles at a lower level may cause. The first that Craig mentioned was taxpayers would be unable to travel between the lakes. Well, the taxpayers were always able to travel between the lakes from in the 1960s when I arrived here, until boats got larger and larger and larger. At some point, boats going to be too large to traverse the Narrows, first of all. So you have to be reasonable there. You know, you can't bring a boat with a deep draft and expect even at the highest water level to be easily to get through the Narrows. Fishing boat, a rowboat, a motorboat. It's traditionally been able to get through at the lower levels. Now, the DEP does in fact set the levels, and I'm not asking for the levels to be changed at this point. I don't think that's necessary. I think that there's enough leeway, you know, in the range there, that if the water were kept at the lower level, the water levels wouldn't rise above the maximum level, thus incurring the town a $60,000 fine, which is what the DEP said. And I objected to that when they said that they would level that. This goes back to the first time. I don't know what would happen this time. I had to go that far. But I asked them not to, please don't do that. And they said, well, our policy is not to do that. I want to avoid that this time, but if I go to DEP, okay, then I have to show the photograph which shows the water at the top of the gauge. In the DEP's fact finding, they found that the gauge is set too high. Okay, that was from the previous complaint that I made. So this gauge is showing a false reading. Okay, if that gauge was set correctly, it would be entirely underwater. But again, my point is that this shows, and it's clear from the photo, that the level is in violation. And that if I were to go to DEP and say, look, this is my problem, I'm afraid they're going to turn around and say to the town, And, you know, you gotta follow the thing, and our only, recourse is to levy the fine. Now, again, to Craig's first point, it's taxpayers, well, I'm a taxpayer. And I believe it's in the, selectmen's charter, that it is the selectmen's responsibility to protect the property, to protect the safety and property of the townspeople. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is part of the charter. The reason I'm coming to the town is twofold. Number one, to avoid all the troubles and opening the can of worms that happened last time I had to go to the DEP to try to get some relief. The second reason is, I think that really the town can solve it if the DEP were willing, and this is a common sense thing, again. The weather has become extreme. Nobody can deny that we're getting 5, 6, 8-inch rainfalls when we never had that before. And we get one after another, they compound each other. Again, the proof is that whatever the level is, and I don't criticize the dams committee, okay? If they're following the DEP order, fantastic, that's wonderful, but something isn't working because this is dangerous. This is far above the permitted level and the safe level. It's objective, just to look at the photo and see that. So that's my reply to Craig. I don't know, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
And
And incidentally, well, it says in the letter that the water was touching the edge of my building. When the gate was open as much as it could and the water was at this height. If we had gotten another 8-inch storm or a 5-inch storm, my building would have been flooded out because the higher priority would be to save the dam. Again, look, 8 inches would raise the lake. At 18 inches, 12 inches, there's no room. Yeah, and it's also causing damage to the dam. The silt and everything is washing out. You can see there's water passing by the north side of the spillway. When the gate is closed and the water is this high, not even this high, water is leaking through. So I have some serious concerns about that. And I think that keeping the water, and again, at the permitted level, okay, I'm not asking for a change. If a change is required, if I go to the DEP and the DEP says, yes, they're in fact following the order, we're gonna have to change the order and lower the maximum water level. Then you open up a can of worms about when you say taxpayers, the water's gonna go down. Everybody will get upset on the lake, but they're gonna say, well, look, now I have reduced water frontage and I want my taxes reduced. Now, if you stay within the permitted level and just go to the low end of it, it's not an issue. Nobody can say you've taken anything away. But if the DEP makes a change, then the residents around McGraw and Salmon will have in fact less water. By right. So what I'm afraid of is I'm trying to prevent what Craig said could happen about taxpayers getting upset and maybe wanting to pay less taxes. Again, I'm not asking for anything out of the range. What's already standard, acceptable, has been in effect for years and years.
Since what, 1987, right?
Yes, I'm just asking for a reaction to the increased storm levels, which is all a documented fact.
So in a storm in December, we were down at the lower level of
You were at the rock bottom.
in December, where we were,
When was that photo taken?
That photo was taken in December. It was not the very first biggest bad flood we had.
yeah.
This is the
So
second.
we were down at our bottom winter drawdown levels as it was.
And
But on the other hand, the whole state, well, half the state was flooded.
yeah,
I mean, that's, we're not gonna get fined for that. There's no way we can control that.
yeah, and I don't think they
Yeah.
should be fined for that.
You know,
I'm not saying that.
You know, so to penalize everybody. Because we've had a storm or two, well, we're gonna go back into drought again eventually. We had the flood of '87 and everything survived through that. And so we've had massive rainstorms before too as well, but even still, it's that storm brought us up from at least a foot below full pond.
yeah.
And put us up above full pond.
Right.
So it's. What he's asking us to do in the summertime wouldn't have any effect on that, because we were already at our winter drawdown levels.
Oh, so during that storm, you'd already drawn down.
We were already drawn
You'd
down,
drawn down below level.
and so we were already down there. And it just brought us up, and, you know, small pond, everything handled it, we just had the dam inspected. The only thing, I got the paperwork here if you wanna see the inspection, but I believe that was all emailed out to you anyways when the inspection happened last August. And the only thing we had to do for the, according to the main dam inspector, is to remove the brush from the berm on the side, and riprap, and we're in the process of riprapping that. And, we've already removed the brush, and
Didn't you just have, $25,000 something repair? Was that the dam that you had a repair on?
Gate, and that's in his letter as well.
Okay,
And he had mentioned about the cables breaking, but that's the reason why we ended up replacing the gates, is because the cables were breaking, everything was rusted. It was going through, so we added a stem to the existing gate. Rather than trying to have a whole gate made, and so the cables breaking were the original issue, and that brought us forward to seeing that the gate was bad. And that we had to do something to repair it,
So,
and which we did.
Craig, I'm sorry, I don't think we have that letter. And we have a letter that goes to the board of selectmen, and so it doesn't mention the skin, it doesn't mention.
Mr. Trump, when was the prior one you were talking about? What year?
It's about 8 years ago.
About 8
I got the
years
papers with me.
Don't I make copies now?
I can pop it if you want.
July 2009 is when it became,
Okay.
potential hazard dam, applied by the board, potential hazard.
While we're getting that letter, Bruce, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just a couple questions, it's about the previous, so one, I'm assuming Craig has a copy of that. From DEP with the letter that they had sent back in 2009 on the dam committee, I should say, not here, but the dam committee on the findings that DEP had in 2009. Does the dam committee have the?
No, we have no findings at the gauge, there's no documented findings on that,
Okay, so you had no documentation of that,
no.
okay, and then any of the findings that the DEP made in 2009 about the $60,000 levy fine or anything?
I'm not familiar with that,
Okay.
and I don't have anything with me of that.
No, I mean, and I get, if you do, could help if the board had a copy of that, just so they can see what the DEP said back in 2000, 2000.
Did you bring in?
I read a copy, I saw a copy, but the town received the official copy, so.
The town
It
should have.
was the town that had.
When was that?
I believe it was 8 years ago, I can't tell you exactly.
July 2009 is when we had to start, documenting everything that went on with the dam.
And it would have been right before that, because that's one of the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reclassified it as potential hazard dam due to the hole in can on the back side of the dam going down the stream.
So two things. One, just for the record, the gentleman speaking was Bruce Trumper, who's, we didn't identify you before you spoke, so, and I called him, just so that's my fault too, but, just so we correct that on the record. And the letter that I have here, I don't see a date on it, is there? Just so I know what we're talking about.
Bill? Well, the dates, let's see, the dates, I have photos of a meeting on May of 2013. I think what's in,
And there's an old one.
this is an old letter, this goes back to 2013.
Okay,
This
so
is
this is-
2000.
And this may be the one. I don't know if this is the one, oh, I think this is the one that kicked off that, the whole DEP coming out. Doing the fact finding and, levying the farm, or.
Well, this says towards the bottom of the first page, several years ago, I filed a formal complaint. And the town was found in violation, so that
Oh, okay.
probably would have been the 2009. So this letter you think is 2013?
So this is 2000, must be 2013, yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry, it's not dated.
The next page has reference to gauge readings in 2013.
okay,
So we know we're in the
we're in the
vicinity.
time. Barbara?
I want to go back to one of the things that Craig said initially, which is that the Dams Committee is an interlocal committee with representatives from 7 towns, and I don't know that there's any role that the select board in Belgrade can take in an individual dam, even though it's in the town of Belgrade. So I would just want to question, you know, what our role, if anything, can be in this.
As owner, you're owner.
Yeah.
Owner, the record, you're the owner of record of the dam. And you're the ones
The
that.
town of Belgrade.
Town of
Belgrade.
Belgrade, yeah. They own the property.
We sign into an interlocal agreement. Oakland owns almost as much shoreline on the ground salmon.
Right,
as
it's Belgrade.
Belgrade does. I mean, we own the most total overall because of Great Pond and Long Pond, that's Lawrence, but,
Right.
that's total shoreline, but on the ground salmon, I bet it's pretty close to even.
Right, so I mean, I just don't understand what role the select board should play in terms of telling the dams committee to do something when it's an intergovernmental committee with representation from all the towns.
Yeah,
Can I explain my
Trumper?
position with respect to that question?
sure.
Again, since the town is the owner of record of the dam, the enforcing agency, DEP, will levy the fine, against the town. That's why the town should be concerned. Again, I'm asking as an informal thing, please, ask them to lower the levels. I understand about the summer and all that, but again, when the water jumps that high, there's something wrong. There's clearly a danger. We can't get away from that. Something has to change if things go along this way. It'll be a matter of time.
But the picture that you, excuse me, the picture that you have was from December,
In the winter.
in the winter time,
Yes.
when the lake was at its lowest.
That's, yes, now the lake,
So that was an extreme, you took the picture after an extreme weather event.
and that's correct. That's correct. And if that extreme weather event, which used to be rare if non-existent, is now commonplace. And now, right, as we sit today, the water level is at, what, full on? In fact, when I went to the dams committee meeting on the 13th, and they asked, and they reported what the water level was on the 13th. The water levels were reported to be 3 inches above full pond, and it was reported to be 1.8 inches below full pond. Or no, 1.8 inches above full pond. And I asked about the discrepancy, and I was told that there is a data logger that has been installed, it's an electronic device. And the chairman told me that we know that these electronic devices are inaccurate, they're not reliable. So I got 2 readings on that day, but my site observation is that the water is being kept at 3 inches above full pond right now as we speak. This hurricane season, storms come, there's deluges that come in the summer as well as the winter. It's a preventive measure that I'm asking for. So.
I get- Yeah. One of the questions that, from other dam committee reports is, we get into these hot days and we get into summer days, there's huge evaporation. So having it at a low level and then having drought And evaporation, I think, is another concern that I don't know if
The problem is it causes, again, traverse between, you can't get through the narrow. If it's too low, it runs below that level. But the problem is when it runs above the level, is you risk the dam failing and drowning those of us who live below the dam. That's the fact. The fact, you want the summer, well, you want people to be able to get through the narrows,
right,
right? But if it comes at the cost of risking failure of the dam and drowning people, it's not right. And again, they have the discretion, the dam committee has the discretion to run at a lower level to be safe. It's a matter of safety. Forgive the analogy, but if you're driving on the highway at 75 miles an hour and the speed limit is 70, that's cool. Everybody gets a 5-mile grace. It's just like three inches above full pond. But when the weather is bad and there's a danger, you slow down. You're not speeding, but at 70 when it's pouring up hell, but you're being safe, okay? I'm asking you to be safe. I know they have the legal right to keep it at the high level, but it's not safe considering the changing weather patterns. And one of the reasons to revisit the water levels and to open a hearing is changing weather patterns. I'm afraid if I go to the DEP, they're gonna open things up. And that's why I'm asking you, please, give me some relief. And I'm not trying to run it to the dead bottom and then risk it going below. Run it low enough so it doesn't go below the legal level. And according to DEP, at that level, people should be able to get through the narrows unless they have a deep draft boat.
We also have our dams keeper, the keeper of the dam at Salmon Lake here, Ken.
So today's reading is 3/4 of an inch above full power. So,
3/4 of an inch above full pond.
and by the time we're done with this heat wave, we'll be down in full power. And we have to run that at 1 CFS, which is that new little valve on, which regulates it more closely for us. Plus, we have leakage around the gaskets, which is normal for any dam of that sort. And, so a perfect example of what just happened to us is, this rainstorms the series of rainstorms that we, just had. We had 4 or 5 days of rain showers. Well, they forecast 2.5 to 3 inches of rain over those 4 or 5 days. And, so we drew down a long pond to be ready. And then we got caught down low and we got we got about a half an inch of rain in those 4 or 5 days. So we planned, so you can't go by the weather forecast. You can't run the dams on the weather forecast. You kind sometimes you can, but it's hard.
Right,
Because otherwise, we're gonna be caught without any water. And,
right.
that water gets low, it warms up. You have the geotrichulator and all the other stuff, even more so than what we have.
Okay, all right. Bruce?
And the only other thing is, I know in other ponds throughout the state, Fish and Game has a lot to say, and that does have game fish in that lake. You draw that level down too low, you can start affecting the trout and the snouts in that lake. The
Yeah.
temperature's gonna be too warm.
Just for reference, so you guys know, the DEP stipulates over the summertime, there's a 6-inch window where the lake needs to be within. So I try to keep it right in the middle or just slightly above the middle. So in the wintertime, we're a foot lower. Go off of the ice. In the springtime, I'm allowed to go 6 inches above full pond. So 6 inches above full pond on that dam, the water will be going over the top of the dam. Since I've been running it, I've never had that happen. And I've never been above. So with that dam also, we have to monitor, we have to write down how far it's open, what the water level is every day. And we've kept records and we've never been in a violation.
Okay.
It's fine, I'd like to see the record. I'd like to see the records of the dam.
That's no problem.
Just see what it showed when it was at the site. I'll leave that information. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I have
Yeah.
a quick thing. So if there's a way that you could work with Mr. Trump to show how that management is a little more fine tuned, it sounds like that's in place, maybe that would help address the concerns. I hear what you're saying about the water being up at the level in the picture that you showed, I get that. But perhaps with the new tools that they have in place, it would address your concern. I'm not certain.
Okay, like, yeah, the new tools that they have in place, that, you know, the meter, the valve that they put in the gate.
Yes.
That's to meter the water down so they can get to exactly a bare minimum passage of cubic foot.
Right.
Per second. Okay,
Yeah.
because before, they would have to raise the gate a little bit.
Right.
You know, and fish would get through and stuff, and they couldn't get it down. So that was a matter of just metering. That has nothing to do with the safety or really, it doesn't.
Right.
And, you know, all due respect, I've lived across the dam, studied the issue. I read papers from Lawrence Sturdivant, from another person on the lake. I'm intimately aware of all the details of that, really, and I'm happy to learn anything more that I can. But,
Any other comments from the board or concerns? I'm not sure that we have the authority to do anything either.
Okay.
Is it the feeling of the board that I think we've had a good discussion and a good understanding?
My thinking is, there's an interlocal agreement that the dams committee would be in the first and best position to answer those questions or bring them up in the interlocal committee. That's my thinking. I might be off base. Craig can tell me if I'm off or not.
Well, we have discussed it, and we discussed it at the last meeting before we got here.
Yeah.
No one, especially the Oakland delegates, Don Borman and Boyd Snowden, were interested in taking that risk of lowering.
Yeah.
Salmon Lake and summertime.
and I've spoken to people who had specific problems. One of the past presidents of the Lake Association told me, I pestered him until he finally got angry, slammed his fist on the table and told me the reason the water was that high because he wanted to get his boat through the Narrows. So I understand how emotional people can get about that. Ted Fontaine, who lives on Golden Point, was really, really angry when the DEP order came through and the water, you know, they had to follow the order. Because his water line froze in the winter. The water was being so down, it froze in the winter. Well, Ted's on the committee now, on the dams committee now, okay? You know, it's, you know, people have a strong interest either way in this.
Right.
Just understand, my interest is protection of my life and my property, okay? And I do feel that this photo shows that they were in violation. And it was explained to me by the head of enforcement of the DEP that the only way that you're gonna get this done is to report violations. And I steadfastly refused to do that, but I see now that's my only recourse to try to move forward on this. I mean, no disrespect to you. I hope I won't get the whistleblower treatment again, which I got last time. It was unpleasant. Okay, this time I'm not gonna stand for it. And just so you know, I have to do this to protect myself, okay? And I mean no disrespect to you or the dams committee, okay?
Right.
All right, thank you for
Okay.
listening.
Thank you.
So I don't feel that we were in violation because we had a flooding event and over half of the state was flooded. They're not gonna prosecute us in a violation.
Good, I hope
Because we were at the levels we were supposed to be.
And I will ask them not to,
That's not a violation. A violation would be continuously having above the levels without any prior event. When an event like that happens, they can't hold us in violation because everybody flooded.
That's right.
Even though, especially if we were at our levels where we were supposed to be at,
I agree.
that's not a violation.
I agree,
Okay.
I agree. And that's why I want to show them the level and say, look, they follow the levels, here's the data. And maybe the DEP can do something, you know, but again, it's a danger, there's no getting around it, it's a danger in the photograph. And if it's not gonna be addressed, I can't just say, oh, wow. and put the light preserver
Well,
on.
I guess I would encourage the dams committee and Mr. Trumper to continue to work at it and see if there's, as best you can, come to some, if there's anything we can do.
Well,
At the same time, we got the other issue.
To do that, I really, because time's wasting, I'm scared.
Okay,
Right. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Thank you for bringing it to us, because it's always helpful to hear what's happening, and what people feel.
Okay, yeah. I realized last time, and I don't think it ever made it to the collective stuff. As a manager at the time, and I think that caused a bigger problem, but at least now everybody knows.
Now we're aware, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Is there any other business to come before the board that is not someplace else? Oh. What'd you say, Mel?
Something more or two.
Yep, go ahead, Bill.
I had a couple of questions. I think several months ago, Dan had requested a purchase order system. And the board approved that, we're in June. And have we started that process?
We actually talked about it at our department head meeting, and we are trying to implement something. And all of the department heads know that it is important for them to provide enough information when they make a purchase, so that we can record it correctly. So you should see, some improvement, I think, as we go forward in the next few weeks.
So we are doing the purchase order system.
A purchase order system, I actually sent out a request, we're on a listserv. So when you're a town clerk or a town treasurer or a town manager, you become members of organizations that give you access to everybody's emails. So I put out something about a purchase order policy or what people are doing. No one is using purchase orders. They're fairly old school. If they use a purchase order, it's for items that are well over $10,000. So if
we use a purchase order system at the Coombs, there's 300 employees.
do you use it for items that are like $10?
I just had a $15.79 purchase order. Because we were purchasing paint for a vehicle that we don't normally service at owners. And so we had to do a purchase order and take it to the other dealership. And then with that purchase order, they get paid. But it's very detailed on what it is.
I think
Business I work for, the purchase order system, they do go through QuickBooks and use Expensify. We have to take a picture of every receipt. And there's a place on it, but after you take a picture, it says the amount and date done, and it says description. You should fill it in.
Well, we just ordered a stamp that you would stamp in a receipt or a bill. It has a spot for the department, what line item it comes out of, and several lines where additional information could be written, like what it's for. And
that works as well.
And a spot for department head initials to initial it.
But that wasn't what you asked. So you specifically asked for the purchase order system to be put in place. The board agreed for the purchase order system to be put in place. But now we're still not doing it. So we have a stamp and some other ideas. So I don't.
We need something. We need something in place.
So, I guess my understanding, purchase order system, I thought we were looking to be able to have a better explanation of what is being purchased. Is that correct?
Right.
Or am I missing something?
Well, and that is what the purchase order system is.
So if this stamp that they've developed will give us that explanation.
I mean, it sounds like it would do the same thing as long as they give us the details, what's the
Right,
stuff's
and that, I think that's what came out of the department head meeting, am I correct?
Yes.
So, maybe you can, next meeting, we'll have the stamp will be in, so we can see how it goes and see if that gives us the information and the detail that we're looking for.
Yeah, but so my point, I think, Carol, is that the board requested something specific, and it's not being done. And instead, there's a different thing being done that we weren't notified of. We weren't asked, hey, instead of doing that, how about if we do this? So instead, months have passed since we agreed to go back to the purchase order system. And I've seen nothing showing that we're doing anything differently, which is why I'm requesting the information. So when we make a decision, that's what should move forward. Not a tweak to it. Just, this is how we do it, and this is why.
But if there's a reason to do it a different way, I think we need to consider that as well.
And then that should have been brought to us before we purchase something or we're looking to do something differently.
I think I put in my last town manager's report that Nick and I had met and were working on something. And this is the next meeting after that. If you look at the town manager's report, so.
Okay, so that's one. The second thing is the building committee for the summer fall seasons. Every other ad hoc committee that we suggested we set up in this town, we've hot on. We're not hot on this one because I said I would sit on that committee. And if someone can show me that there's a different reason that we've yet to set up that committee that was first brought up in February. I'd like to know. Otherwise, I'd ask that same question several times. And been told that we're in the process of getting that set up. The Center for All Seasons should not be put on hold for any reason. There's a reason for setting up that building committee so that we can look at a 2-year, a 5-year, a 10-year, a 20-year plan for those facilities.
Right.
And so I'm now going to insist, because I've asked respectfully several times, that that actually be done. And that we start working on that at the next one, because no one should have to ask several times for the same thing to happen.
Okay. We can revisit. I know that we've talked about forming it. I don't think we've gotten very far in that process, so let's have that something we do at the next meeting.
Yeah, so we're gonna put together the charge for the committee, how many members, and who's gonna sit on it. And then the third question I had is, we have one ACO currently. Do we have any backup for our ACO?
We do not.
We do not. Do we have any other towns that we've reached out to that are willing?
Oh, we do,
to
actually.
one
I'm
person?
sorry. I had a gentleman come and fill out, he came because he had spoken with you. I can't even think of his first name. I've got his business card. He's a animal control officer in, I want to say, 2 other towns. And he spoke with Jeff. I met with him, so he can fill in. He's certified. He can fill in if Jeff wants to take a long weekend or go on vacation or anything like that.
Is he willing to do that?
Yes. That's why we got in contact with him.
Okay.
He's not working a regular schedule like we did when Tracy was here.
Yep. And are you okay with that process?
Can we get this information, especially for years?
Yes. And does he have to be appointed as a backup ACO in the town of Belgrade?
Yes.
Maybe if he's willing to do it, we can put it on the next one, then if you want to take a vacation, maybe you go.
That'd be nice.
All right, and then the last thing that I have for other business is, can the board please get copies of any dig safe applications that we have submitted for the last 2 years?
Any what applications?
Dig safe applications
That the town has to do?
that the town has. So anytime we dig on town property, any disturbance of soil, we have to do a dig safe application. I know Dan's brought it up, I brought it up. So I just can just come in an email, doesn't have to be anything in the board, but if we can get copies of what we have done for applications for dig safe in the last 2 years.
I think the last one was at the Workman Field. They had
So
to
we
have
can make sure we're not missing anything, because if we miss one of those, it's a $10,000 fine for the town. That's a minimum.
Okay, is there anything else
That's all I have.
anyone have? Okay, if there's nothing else, let's move on to warrants. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura.
in my list of contracts, I missed one for electrical repair maintenance and propane generator repair maintenance. It looks like this was a 5-year contract previously, but there's no provision to renew it or extend it. So I would like to put out an RFP using the same information we used previously.
When does that one expire?
It expired June 15. June 15, it was put in. I thought it was 2019, June 15, 2021 to June 15, 2024. If I can get this out this week, I could have it back and on your agenda for July 2.
Can we make sure that there's a provision for extending it in it?
Yes, I thought for sure there might be, because most,
That was the 3-year contract.
yeah, but we'd only do it, but we'd go December 31, 2024. And then, or we could do, so you can't really do, yes, you can, you did it. You did the warrant article that allows you to enter into multi-year. So if you wanted to do it for 3 years, we could. 3 years.
Okay.
And we'll put a provision to extend.
Sometime we run late, obviously, this capital, did we talk about the email we got on the dumpsters?
Did we talk about what?
The email we got?
Yes, I brought it up.
It'll be on the next meeting's agenda.
Okay.
We didn't,
I just wanted to make sure since we're in other business, so that's what.
we didn't discuss it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Lorna? No, okay. All right, so moving ahead into warrants. I move we approve warrant number 63, in the amount of $25,950.60. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so that's 5 yeses. I move we approve payroll warrant number 64 in the amount of $23,618.80.
Second.
Second on that one. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. I move we pay AP warrant number 65 in the amount of $6,070.87.
Second.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. I move we, which is 5 yeses. I move we approve AP warrant number 66 in the amount of $114,041.69.
Second.
And under the wire, okay.
Do you want to hear this one?
So, is there any discussion on the AP warrant number 66?
Yes.
Okay.
First item on the AAA portable toilets. We have the ball field, the cemetery, and then the fire department. The village green, what are those?
I believe they're trying out Stanley's at the Village Green. It's a new vendor.
They do have There are 2 toilets there, so.
Do we have a contract with AAA portable toilets?
Not to my knowledge.
I thought that they did a bid and that's how we got, it was 175 for the handicap toilets and whatever the difference was for the non-handicap toilets.
I have to check that.
Yeah, because I remember there was an increase in the price on the handicap toilets, and we didn't have one initially at every location, so it was either last year or the year before that they raised the rates, and we wanted to make sure there was a handicapped accessible one at all locations.
Okay. Anything else?
What is chair for Ian?
What is what?
A chair,
Chair.
a new office chair.
On page 2. We got toilet paper down, but not who were we getting our toilet paper from? And I just wondered if there's a couple of different, we've got paper towels with 2 different prices, so I'm wondering if we're getting all of our supplies from the same places?
Page 2, are you looking at the bottom?
Yeah, page 2, it just says toilet paper,
For
but
the transfer station?
yeah,
I'm not sure where Kenny gets, his, but we could, I want to say that Ed gets ours from WB Mason, maybe. So we could, put all of that together, order all at the same time.
If we go to Sam's Club all the time too, and check the prices at Sam's Club.
yeah, I mean, I get 5 or 6 things of 9 rolls and double rolls, and it's $20.
Buy all the stuff, my wife's office building, the conference center at Sam's Club. What's the window privacy thing for?
For the small meeting room, where it looks, I want to say Mary had wanted it on the part that looked, maybe it was for the part that looks into my office. But it's like, it's just a window film, you just,
Oh, I know what it is.
yeah,
It's one of those
Yeah.
one you need it.
yes. Instead of a shade. A pull shade, we're not putting shades on it.
Yeah, but why are we doing it? Why did we do it?
This is, it's on, there's, what's it, what are we doing? So,
I'm guessing for privacy, for if I'm meeting with someone in my office. And there are people coming into the meeting room voting or meeting, doing whatever, that it gives some privacy.
Oh, that is the room you use for voting, isn't it?
It is.
All right, on page 4, my question was the 2 different prices for paper towels. With paper towels for the fire department at $36.20 and paper towels for solid waste at $32.45. Once again, we can see where we're purchasing it from, if we do bulk purchases. We can be paying the same price for the department. So I got a few more here too. We have on the page 7, Dr. Design for the camp uniforms. Do we know where they're from? Whether or not they're local, we tend to use, I thought it was local. Folks that to do those, because that cost seems higher than what I remember.
Page 7.
Yeah, page 7. Can't help his Dr. Design out. Or Dr. Designed.
Right, on the uniforms you're talking about. Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know this.
Yeah, because we usually use B and B.
Second one down on page 7.
Interestingly,
Doctor.
I guess Frank Egan. I just heard that B&B, Designs has been sold. B&B Embroidery, did anyone know about? Wow, there's new ownership there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
It's page 7, the second one from the top.
That's not what I'm on here.
Orange.
66.
It doesn't even have a warrant. On it. No time. I don't even have a warrant on the top.
Right after the Dead River transfer station DJ.
Oh, that's on my page 6. Got it. Camp uniforms, I have no idea who that is. That's,
You have a,
Dan.
you have a slip down the account,
Yeah.
you put that address.
It's not the credit card, so.
That's why she's looking that up for the trailer conference.
Trailer to send it.
This thing here, it's $700 something for a trailer, it's like under cemetery.
Not sure, company being through us. We haven't had.
Manchester. DR Designs is out of Manchester.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's what these came from.
Dear, gotcha.
The trailer, the small trailer's been using, they were using it in the cemetery. It replaced one that was falling apart. They use the new one to plant flowers, carry all of them, and they also use it to move the tripod around the cemetery. It has dual axle and it has removable sides.
Okay, well, it's listed under cemetery for expenses, but apparently it goes to the cemetery committee. For purpose.
Page 8 of the Pembroke Sheriff's Office, we are voting at the town office for $1,020. Is that voting at the Center for All Seasons? Or are we gonna get a separate charge for that?
What page are you on, Melanie?
Page 8.
That should be Center for All Seasons, not town office.
Yeah,
because we didn't,
had absentee voting if we had anybody here.
it would be Center for All Seasons. We hired them for a day.
I voted early and there was no sheriff here.
Good to know.
It's just during office hours.
All right, page 10. So Mosquito Bandito is Brown Tail Moth. I know last year we had a grant for the Brown Tail Moth remediation. But anything over $15,000 needs to go to RFP. So this was $23,481. So, and I know we sent out for pest services, but we didn't necessarily send one out for brown tail moth removal, correct?
We did not, and that was, we got the estimates, the cost for the grant from Mosquito Bandito because we knew that he did the brown tail moth. The invoices were submitted to the state sent us a check in that amount. And then we turned around and paid Mosquito Bandito.
Was that 20?
So it didn't,
The grant or 2024?
it was in 2023. The check just came through because we did the work in April. So we submitted the invoices. Once we got them to the state, they sent the town a check in that amount. And then the town cut a check to Mosquito Bandito.
So this amount's not state reimbursed.
Correct. It didn't cost us anything.
Okay, so that's one of those things that we may want a little note in there, like reimbursed or something. Just because anything over 15, so if we get the quotes, anything over 15 has to go out to RFP by policy. So that's why I was like, okay, and is that all the facilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So town office, central.
Yeah, we did the fields, the parks, North Belgrade, Central Seasons here, yeah. The cemetery.
Anyone, anything else?
One last thing, page 13. On the last one, I thought we had a $178 charge for removing the snow blower from the front of the tractor, but on this one, we have it was 200 on the last one, and this one we have another 178.
It was the same amount, it was cut to the wrong vendor. So that check never went through, this is a corrected. It's the correct vendor. Does that make sense?
It does, but we should be noticed of something like that, if something is made out, you know, the board should be made aware, because I put it out like we just paid for this on the last warrant. So we're just, maybe just, hey, by the way, that one's made out, so that warrant is actually gonna be $178 less, and then this one's gonna be $178. We only paid for it once, I was like, didn't we just do that? All right, that's all I have.
Anyone else have anything? Peter? Barbara? Dan? Okay. Motion's on the floor. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. 5 yeses. I move we pay payroll warrant number 67 in the amount of $24,277.50. Is that it? Second. All in favor, Dan? Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, that's 5 yeses. And I move we pay AP warrant, State of Maine BMV in the amount of $8,976.81.
Second.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay. That takes us through the warrants. Okay, next thing is the town manager's report.
Attended manager training through Maine Municipal Association. We have committee openings for ad hoc short-term rental. Belgrade Water District Trustee, Board of Appeals, Senior Resource Committee, although with 3 new coming on, that may fill that up. And Transfer Station Committee, we did include a notice in the newsletter about that. The Pickleball Committee is planning another yard sale on June 30th in the village. They are also planning on selling t-shirts and totes at the Summer Music Series. I'm meeting with Dan McKenzie and I are meeting with representative from Senator Collins' office next week. I think Travis is on vacation, but Dan will be here. We're going to give them a tour of the 3 different fire stations and talk with them about the new building project. I have a health officer thing June 25th. That's also the planning day for KB Cog all day. We did receive the salt pricing that was on your agenda tonight from your June 4 meeting. The truck doctor invoice was for the Workman Field, and that was on the warrant tonight. Civic Plus has confirmed they will send a new contract with the 5% increase only. We do not have that yet. MMA's risk management representative will be visiting facilities July 2. The request for Belgrade Meeting.gov domain has been made. We should know soon when it is ready or approved. They say it takes 30+ days to go through the process for approval. In fact, I checked it today, but it's not been approved yet. Facilities are closed tomorrow, Wednesday, in observance of Juneteenth. Upcoming meetings, we have fire and rescue on the 19th, planning board on the 20th, senior resources, the 25th. Maybe planning day, the 25th, links and natural resources, the 25th. Comprehensive plan, the 26th, and then we also have our first village greens concert to kick off the season next Thursday, the 27th.
What's KB Planning Day?
I'm not sure what it's all about. I've never attended one. And they just sent out a packet of information this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet.
But
All
that's,
of it.
that's for you.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
yeah.
After that session.
Bruce has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce?
Biggest thing is, I am the chair of the building committee for the new fire station, and it would be kind of handy that I would have received an email notifying me that we were be meeting with Senator Collins' office, discussing the new fire station and going over the three that we have existing. I did not receive no email on that.
I think I thought I had included you. I sent it to Dan, Travis, and
And
Danielle.
that was it.
Yeah, I didn't see one either.
So,
Oh,
we
saw one.
I didn't get it. I don't
Oh.
know when.
Yeah, I sent it out to the full
Right,
board.
because I said I would try to
To
make
invite
that
you.
27th, yeah. Okay,
You're welcome to.
yeah, I'll probably be there. I gotta talk, me and Dan talked about it last night, but just, it would be nice to be
I apologize.
into the email chain because, we do a lot of work on this, and it'd be nice to be an email chain to not be cut out of it.
okay,
What time is that meeting supposed to be?
I believe it's, no,
No, I think for 9:30.
yeah, on the 27th, it's a Thursday.
see which my phones it's on.
I leave at noon time, head past that kind of towards Florida, so. Hopefully would be around that night.
You can pop in for just even just a little bit. to
It's
meet.
9 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay,
Where are they starting at?
I believe she's gonna meet here first.
okay, if there's nothing else, well, I move we exit our select board meeting and at 8:26. 8:27.
Take a 2-minute.
Yeah,
Minute break.
take a 2-minute break, okay, we won't
I'll
exit.
second
We'll wait to exit. Okay. Move to. Okay, I move we exit the select board session at 8:34.
Second,
All in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
I move we enter executive session at 8:35.
Second,
Do you have?
Okay,
oh, wait, yes,
Pursuant to 1 MRS.
Oh, that's right, I didn't say
subsection
that, I'm sorry.
405, subsection
And you
6.
didn't, and you didn't vote.
okay. Anyone second that?
not yet. I was waiting for Melanie to finish the
I was
one,
just adding to yours.
it's the one that ends in A.
A, right,
Okay,
yes,
that was the key. So second,
okay, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so that's fine. So we are in,
Motion of the exit. 9:56.
is there a second, all in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
I make
I'll
a
vote
motion
yes.
that we re-enter the select board meeting at 9:56 p.m.
Second,
all in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan, I'll
Yes.
vote yes.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
We need to report finding.
Hold on.
So, go with your wording.
And it was that the board gave direction
To
to
the
the town
town
manager regarding the personnel. Now,
Okay, now, I move we
we have
adjourn.
to move and second that.
Second,
Okay, all in favor of adjourning?
No.
Oh, of the
Direction.
direction, okay? Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
Okay, now I make a motion that we adjourn at 9:57.
Second that.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yep.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
Carol? Yes.
Okay.